Oh, hello. Yep, starting with the stream. Hey,
We're doing great.
we're doing great. It's we're tired today. By we, I mean I, but I think probably most of us. Yes, hello. As you can see from the screen, it's been 2 weeks since we've played, and guess what? The people who murdered Breonna Taylor still haven't been arrested. And in fact, people protesting the fact that the people who murdered Breonna Taylor haven't been arrested were arrested. So I think like something like 47 or something protesters were arrested. But we can't arrest 3 cops who murdered a person as she slept. So Black Lives Matter, and it would be nice if we started acting that way in this country. And that's yeah. So you can use exclamation point BLM exclamation point donate to get information on resources and places you can contribute if you have the means to do so, but also education and other types of contributions that aren't necessarily financial. So please, as always, keep that in mind. And we're gonna go ahead and jump in. We're also probably gonna have a pretty short session tonight. I have people moving into my house tonight. So I need to keep it pretty short so that I can be ready to be there for them when they arrive. And in that vein, let's just jump in. Let's do a quick recap. What happened last session? I know it's been a little while, so dig deep. Um, think beyond. We went to the basement with Marguerite. Also, I hope Hank stays there the entire time. I know it's probably just the angle, but he looks so bored.
He's like the chillest dog ever.
Oh, I love
look
him.
At that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, so recap. What happened last session?
Well, we did go down to the basement to visit
You
Margaret.
did.
That's true.
It was just some more stuff after that.
Cure me of my ailments.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
don't oversell it. Marguerite told you that there was the possibility of a long-term, we might be able to do something. It's all experimental. We don't know what will happen, but if you show up every few days, we're going to do something to you and it might work. In regards to, yes. I forgot if I ever told you what I wanted that to mean in mechanics. Did we ever talk about that in terms of
No, we
mechanics?
didn't.
I don't think so.
Okay, let's just cross that bridge right now because otherwise
Sure.
I'll forget.
Sure, and I will write it down so I don't forget.
That's a great idea. Okay, basically, I would like for you to try to see Marguerite like every night. Or like once a session, if well, I guess every night. So like once a day in
Once
real
every
time.
few sessions.
Yeah. Once a day. So and it will be basically a role, kind of using her what's it called in this game? Like Arcana, but in this game called
You're a cult.
her occult. Thank you. Her occult, and we can, kind of like it'll be based on some other things, and like she might sometimes send you for certain types of ingredients or books or things like that. And the more that you can kind of help out, the more likely it is to succeed. And when it succeeds, the count on your +1, +2 for sessions will either not go up at all or could go down by 1. So the better that it succeeds, the more likely it is, like it'll either be it won't go up for the next game, or it'll actually go down by a count instead of up by a count. So we're just making it less likely that the infection will advance. Okay.
Right.
Great. Onward and upward. What else happened?
We went onward and upward. We made a journey up Spire.
Yeah, we went to the library. Or, well, Minrai and Hennis went to the library.
Well, we went up Spire and we found the weird floating room in it, right? And
that happened first.
you went in there and were weirdly floating and couldn't breathe, and then you brought out a body, which sadly I couldn't eat.
Mhm.
But I took some body parts from.
You
And
did. You took like an
did,
organ and a
and
pea.
we grabbed 3 books. One was fairy tales. Another one was like straight up old religion, and then I can't remember what the third one was.
One was bedtime stories. The
one
other was like
was
folk tales.
yeah,
And then
and the last one was a really old religion book about
Okay.
old drow religion, which if we get caught with is like punishable by death or something.
It's a fanfic. That's what we tell them.
Oh no.
Speculative fiction.
Definitely punishable by death then.
Yeah, doubly punishable.
Yeah, so that's what happened like on the way up. And then
And then
I
we
think-
split up.
yes,
No, we
and I
split
think
up, yeah.
I got off first.
Somebody got
Phrasing.
I'm glad you did.
Oh no.
And sorry.
It makes it even worse that your character is like old.
Oh
Like an-
God, old people
Wow.
Yeah,
having
ew.
sexual
Oh
satisfaction.
no! Old people ejaculating. Ah!
Gross.
Really?
Their balls are already even extra wrinkly. Okay. Anyway, I went to investigate Nezaday's place and went to Harmonious Properties and met with the receptionist person, and they showed me how to get to their house, and I went there, and there was like a whole bunch of blood and stuff around, and it was obvious that they weren't there. And I put in my equipment, I had some of their drawings, and I also have their bloody shirt. And
Which you let
Um,
Sweet Pea sniff to help you track.
yes, and then I tracked Neza, and they were going fucking crazy on people and trying to bite them.
Yes.
And I tried to intimidate, but failed every time because I'm apparently garbage. I'm not a scary old cannibal man with a pet hyena, I guess. And then they bit my arm, but onto the leather. And now I'm like, well, cool. They seemed okay to just be there biting. As I then led them back to their house, I think was the direction I was heading.
Yes, the
They
actual
anglerfished you.
the actual act of sinking their teeth into something flesh-like, which was the leather, seemed to appease the drive in them to some degree to like be kind of out of their mind, frantic need to like attack people. Is what happened. Yes. Yeah. Yep.
That's me.
And then Minrai and I started walking to the library, and Minrai shared what the plan is, which will eventually unfold.
And Minrai also looked at my book.
Look, I'm gonna be like oh, I do remember the plan, kinda. It'll go well.
So you're gonna
Don't worry.
trade the book, and then upon looking at the book, you realized maybe this book would be better put in Ulrich's hands than traded away. I think was one part of the plan. I don't remember the rest.
I think the book is backup if we get caught.
Yeah,
We
'cause
also
we
have the folk tales book.
One
And
of
I was
those
going
might get us in
to-
less trouble.
Yeah, so I think one of us hid the religion one. I don't remember who. And then the other one has the folk tales book that we're going to use as a bargaining chip if we get caught in the library. And I was going to use the webbing spell.
So I'll fetch
and then
books for
send
you, and
Hennis,
that way you
yeah.
don't have to move.
And that way I can tell if people come close too.
Mhm.
Oh, and then
Um,
the I forgot about the black market. Shop trade.
Amandu, Calvi, and Ulrich made their way to a black market to pick up some masks that we could use to sneak around Amaranth without alerting people that we were Faisal's men. And that's all I remember about that.
Yeah, I bought 2 high elf masks. One I'm gonna try to pass off as my true mask. The others I'm gonna try to have as, one of the more decorative ones, I guess. And then I also bought some fine robes because what Kelby's wearing is just not high society. Certainly doesn't sound high society, so we'll see how that goes. But
it smells like shit and therefore does smell like high society.
But
He changed.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
I did change.
How did I forget about
all of the shitting?
that? Happened earlier today in game time.
Yeah,
It,
yeah, he's
Yep.
yeah. It's been a weird day. It's been a weird day for Kelby.
So much happened. Okay.
I think the last thing that happened was that Amandu, Kelvy, and I made it into like Amaranth with our new masks.
Yeah, so
Right?
I think you were already in Amaranth when you found the underground mask dealer, and you just kind of
Okay.
been using the Faisal servant masks to kind of walk around undisturbed. But the question was, the reason you guys decided to look for a mask dealer was, is it really the wisest option to walk onto Faisal's estate wearing Faisal servant masks and then kind of try to go talk to Faisal and have it be known that like in some way you got his masks, right? But yes, and I think that there was also another like more drow oriented mask, like another like a different high elf's like servant kind of mask, marked for like a different high elf at the shop, and I can't remember if you guys bought that too or if you just bought the 2.
I thought we walked away with 3. I know that Kelvy had the 2 for himself, but I thought we walked away with the 1 for everyone.
I didn't write it down, so sure, you walked away with 3.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, and let's roll.
But I was just gonna say before we like start with other things, can I get a quick recap on what it is what our plan is as far as meeting with Faisal?
That won't be quick.
All right. Okay, then never mind.
I mean, I'm all
Just
for
wing
it,
it.
but it won't be quick. I believe if I could try at least, the plan is that y'all will take care of setting up the meeting and I will show up as an assistant and that y'all will kind of just feel him out during the meeting as representatives of Harmonious Properties, ?
Okay, so like do we have like an MO like this meeting is set to discuss?
I mean, you could just be like,
the meeting hasn't been set at all yet, so we
Yeah.
can kind of dictate the terms of that.
Yeah, I was just wondering if we knew already what we were gonna say the meeting is about.
It could just be a status update with questions about like the basement collapsed and
I like it. Okay.
other stuff. And then I think the important thing is that you feel out why he's trying to like why Lord Farquaad is trying to fuck with everything. And then also like getting me in front of him so I can tell what is important to him. That was like our 2 goals because we don't know anything about his motives.
Yeah.
So.
We have suspicions, but we don't know exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right.
I have no clue how I'm gonna get in, by the way. I totally forgot. So
Yeah, I don't know how we were planning on getting back in, but I think you guys were gonna let us in from the inside.
something like that. Yeah, you were gonna come get us.
I wasn't coming.
And who all has whispers? That would be obviously
Me and
Minrai.
Ulrich, right?
Yeah, Ulrich, me, and Rachel.
So
And,
Ulrich and Minrai can at least communicate about like when the groups need to meet up and things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Let's roll for Kelvy's thing. We're at a +1. The 4, so I think safe.
Yep.
I can hear my washing machine
Brr.
being like unbalanced and going like kaboom, kaboom, and I know that means I'm gonna have to go rebalance that load in like 5 minutes.
Oh.
Well, we can't hear it on, like, at least over this. So
Yeah,
Right.
so it doesn't exist.
Cool. All right. Let's get stress levels. I have Calvi's little sheet of paper on top of my stack. So, Calvi, what's your stress at?
It is at a 1.
That's what I have. Good. Minrai?
2.
2. Ennis?
3.
Hey, Barnabas?
We can count.
2.
Ulrich.
0.
Ooh.
Right. Good. And that concludes pre-session stuff.
Nice.
Thank you for coming. Why is this on this layer? EM layer, that shit. Nope, wrong. Oh god, I'm so tired.
Now my screen is white.
Sorry. I need to send this to map layer. That's what I meant.
Okay. It's that kind of day. It's all right.
It's that kind of week and a half, 2 weeks. Yep, okay. But I'm on top of things and ready to go now. So
Woo!
let's.
It's only been 3 weeks since we've done it, right? Because we missed.
Yeah.
So you can feel a little better that it's been longer. So it's fine that we're forgetting everything.
You know, there's
This
been
Thursday has been really long.
Yes. True. Okay.
Thursday will continue
Let's
until morale
start
improves.
with Minrai and Ennis at the library
With the candlestick.
with the candles.
Hell yeah.
One more
Not
clubbing
bad.
object of the 7 other clubbing objects in that
God.
game.
Unrelated, but I watched through Drawtectives and it's so
Oh
good.
my god, I've been watching that too. Okay, not what
I
we're
don't know
talking
what that
about.
is.
We're
but
not
okay,
talking
fine.
about it right now.
I'm sorry for showing interest in other people's interests. I'll be quiet.
Fine, I'll tell you all about it later. Okay, so
I won't talk to you
are
again.
never, never. You are on your way to the library. You've arrived pretty much. All right, and you're wearing Faisal masks.
Sounds right.
Because you had those, and you need masks to walk around in Amaranth undisturbed as Drow. So, unless you have produced other masks or procured other masks, then that is what you're wearing. So yes, you are marked as just kind of servants of Faisal, and you are at the Infinite Library, which is on the campus of the High Elven University of Divine Magic.
Cool.
Is that in a different place? I don't see it in Amaranth.
Don't try too hard to find things on this map.
Gotcha.
It's a magic library, so
Yeah, it's probably on like the thing about like the map of Spire that's in the book, which is what I kind of copied this from, is that like it just shows kind of like one slice of each level, and in theory Amaranth is like several kind of levels tall, and we're really only kind of seeing one piece of Amaranth in this.
that's wild. I thought it was in a different section for some reason.
No, I'm pretty sure it's in. It's
It
part
doesn't
of it's part of the academic domain, right? In like technical terms for the mechanics of the store of the book of the
thing
game. But yeah. Anyway,
Breathe.
okay. You are at the
So
library.
is there a different entrance that we should use, or did you always use the front door when you worked here?
That is a very good question. Let me consult my brain. Hey, Elise,
Yeah.
do I remember if there's a different entrance we should use?
There were definitely servant entrances that you are very familiar with. Yeah, you could walk in the front doors, which is primarily students. High elf students seem to be using. You would also know there are several different types of kind of servant doors. There's like worker servant doors, which is what you would usually use, and it would kind of get you back behind like the circulation desk and into, you know, the archives and stuff more easily. And then there was like servant doors that were more like public doors for people coming to visit on behalf of their lords and ladies. And so you could enter
I will
through either of
relay
those.
some of that, and then I'll say, after I relay kind of that information, I'll say, normally I would use servant doors for the workers, but I think perhaps public doors may be better served for us today. That way we can say that we are Lord Faisal's servants come to collect and find the books for him.
I do think that it is a good idea to make him take the fall if something goes wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But do you know where we are going to look? Should we be
Yes,
going towards the archives, or is this in the public area?
Let me consult my brain again. Hey, Elise, how's it going?
Mm-hmm.
So I know the general section this is in, right?
Mm-hmm.
I assume the library is like pretty connected. If I use the public entrance, is there a path to the section that I'm trying to get us to?
Past staff doors. Yes. If you wanted to go directly there, I think this is in a section that generally you would send someone who was kind of like what you did for your endurance. You would
Okay.
spend someone who in that position to like go fetch this type of book for you. Because it's a more rare book, it's like a little more kind of watched than the kind of general books that are put out for like students to come and just grab off shelves and like consult and then put back and stuff because you really don't want to lose track of these.
Do I
Um,
know how intense the security is to get those areas?
yeah, you would know it really intimately. I mean, you did it all the time.
Yeah.
You definitely need like the right kind of. I mean, essentially, like we're talking about like hall passes and scanning just cards, right? But the kind of occult version of that, you would have kind of like essentially key cards, but they're kind of like via engravings that have been divinely kind of magicked to allow access through areas. And it's less of like tapping a key card and more of like it allows you to pass the threshold. If you don't have one of these, like you kind of are, there's like a barrier that prevents your passing threshold.
Okay. I will turn to Hennis and kind of explain the system as we walk towards some of the doors, and I'll say, this is why we brought you along. I believe it is time for you to do your thing. I'm not particularly very good at stealth, but if you can think of good way to get in, that is great. If not, then perhaps we try to lie and say that we are here for book and just see where it goes.
Um,
Do I know like
would
what
both of those
information?
fall to me?
I believe so, yes. I mean, I will help. I know the library very well, but I am not a good liar. I like to tell truth. Here's a question. Do I know what is necessary to check those books out? Like, are there special, like, do I need to have like a permit if I'm like coming from another lord to check out one of those specialized books?
Yeah, so those books are typically kept on the campus. So professors could check them out. Um, and high elf, like, like particularly influential high elf lords and ladies might be able to kind of sway politically to get access to, although typically that's not that interesting to a lot of those people. So it's mostly kind of kept on campus. Off campus visitors are really not given access to checking books out of the library at all, and certainly not the ones that are kind of kept behind the staff only barriers.
Do I know if there's a way for us to get access to like reading it?
Yeah,
Just
you could if you can bluff your way through, like telling someone that you're here on behalf of Lord Faisal, whose mask you're wearing, right? Essentially, someone might fetch the books for you and bring them back, and you could just essentially just sit in the drow area of the library and do the reading, and then return the books.
okay. Well, I know it is a slight change of plan, but perhaps lying will be our best weapon here, since we have the masks.
Perhaps that is the best idea, yes.
The only
So-
problem is I do not know how long it will take me to find the information that I need within the book. And I don't think I remember exactly what book it was.
Um,
Or no, I remember the book, not the content, right?
Yeah, so you know, yeah, you know the subject area, and kind of a few like good ideas of like these particular books would be great books to start in. So you have a few, like I would say 3 books in mind that you're like, these would be the best place to start. And you know from your experience in the library that they're all in like the same section in the back of the library. It's like, you know, the section marked essentially like occult, you know, spire leakage, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's that kind of, it's got like 7 books total on the shelf because not many people have researched it, kind of thing.
Then perhaps you should read fast.
I will do my best.
Cool. So once we get through the main doors, is there like a desk I go up to, or do I have to flag someone down?
Yeah, there's a desk. There's a drow sitting behind it with a Minrai would have worn exactly a mask like this. It's like a library mask. It's a university drow mask. This is probably a drow during their durance at the library. And they look up from behind the desk and, yep, what do you
Hellos,
need?
My associate and I are here to do some research on behalf of our lord. Associate, could you inform the kind person here what we are looking for? And if you could find us a room in the books, that would be much appreciated.
I will do my best, like practiced library and like look at a paper and like pull it out and be like, yes, we are looking for a reference book like 10 through 10A-B through 16F5 in the occult leakage section of the back of the library on volume 9, shelf 3.
Going to the leakage section
Research
just seems like a bad
The
choice.
leakage section.
The leakage section. Nothing about old men, please.
So,
Lord Faisal has shown interest, and he has asked us to find a particular passage for him.
We
And
certainly appreciate your help.
that is all that we have. We are but servants,
Is-
lowly peasants.
the person, you know, sitting behind the desk kind of cocks their head and like it seems like they're just kind of, if you could see their face, you think that they'd be looking directly at Minrai at this point. And they're like,
Oh no.
Minrai, is that you? You may recall many sessions ago I have this note written down and it's been there for sessions.
Oh no.
Future stress. Minrai needs to go up Spire to find books about unreality seeping into Spire, and is that you rolled to see if you could remember, and you rolled stress, and I said you're not going to take the stress now, you're going to take it at the university.
Oh. Oh, you killed Ava.
We lost Ava.
Oh my god.
And this person is like, I didn't know that you started working for Faisal. That's kind of weird. And
He met a friend of mine through an acquaintance, and I have been hired for my expertise as a librarian on Drow studies in order to help him with his expansion into the Derelictus section. You may have heard of his generous and amazing building, which is so cool, and I love him for it.
That certainly explains why he sent me with the new girl.
Yes,
you are going to take 3 stress to reputation.
classic.
Yeah, I rolled a 3 on a D3, which puts you at 5 total, right?
It does.
Okay, so I'm gonna roll for Fallout.
This will go fine.
It did not go fine. That's a 2.
Well,
Okay, and so you are going to take reputation Fallout from this.
Of course. My reputation is taking a beating this entire like campaign.
This
I've gone from
Thursday.
like no, like this entire thing. I've got 3 stress to Brizz's bond. I had stress with Marguerite. I've got like this thing now. I've gone from like
Rough.
respectable midwife to like
Yeah, so you can erase, let me check again because it's been a little while. You can remove 5 stress, so you're back down to 0. But you are going to take the humiliated fallout, um,
Ooh.
which
oh no.
you make a total fool of yourself, right? So like this is essentially like this network of librarians that you
Are
had
gonna
been a part of and that respected you as a fellow librarian see you as a sellout who's now helping a high
man.
elf
Yeah.
causes, which like when you worked there you know were frequently probably along with all of the other um especially as like a midwife and everything, like people kind of looked up to you a little bit. And this is you can't make use of any of the allies associated with the actions that push you into fallout until you prove yourself once more in the eyes, is the fallout. So
Ouch.
um the person behind the desk kind of looks at you and says, well, you know that technically you have to have brought form 2A7 if you want to have your lord submit a request for books beyond the staff only barriers. So
Was that not received before? I
um
thought that
let
was sent ahead of
she
us.
goes, oh, let me check, and then she just sits there.
Damn.
I will slowly approach the counter. I'm gonna gamble here.
Okay.
And I'm going to put my hands flat on the desk and lean in and look at her in the face. And I'm going to say, oh God, I gotta get this speech going in my head first. Okay. Do not think that you know so well the forces that are at work in front of you, child. The things that I do have a span that is greater than the eyes behind your desk, and I would appreciate it if you looked down when you approach me and the people around me. The things that I work with are greater than you will ever lay your eyes on, and if you appreciate your job here and your time here, and you appreciate the peace which you experience, then you will merely go and do as I say. Trust me when I say that everything I do is for the good of Drow and for the protection of our people.
I am
Can I
gonna
roll like intimidate or something? I don't know.
Pull the clutch.
yes, I think that what you've done here is
Make it worse.
opened. Yeah, to make this work, I think there has to be a show of power in a way that is
Okay.
more than just words. So if you have an
Oh.
idea of what
Okay.
kind of what you would do.
Question.
Yeah.
I asked this before, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
What's a situation?
You being at the library is a situation.
So if I were to leave the library and go meet with Faisal, that would be a different situation.
Right. So the scene of you at this desk and then the scene of you reading the books, those are both scenes within the larger situation of you're at the library, right?
Okay, so I will use Protector's Eye
Okay.
to know what this person cares about most,
Okay.
or what they want to protect above all else.
Okay. She wants to protect above all else. Let's see. What would she want? She cares about the preservation of Drow history. She, like many of the Drow who serve their durns at the university, ended up here because of her particular interest in finding sneaky ways to get information from the library and channel it and funnel it into maybe the Vermisian Vault, maybe the midwife associations, maybe the Cathedral of the Mistress of the Moon or whatever the religion is called. But regardless, above all else, like she's
Can I tell
motivated
how
by
that might relate to the book that I have, to one of the books?
Yeah, you would. I mean, both of the books that you are currently carrying are um, very much Drow history, rare, lost knowledge.
Okay, I will take out the folk book, not
Yeah.
the religion book,
Okay.
and I will hold it in front of me and kind of slide it to her gently, and I'll say, "You and I are both still very similar in the things that we seek, and I offer up knowledge in exchange for knowledge."
Yeah. She takes it and she starts kind of thumbing through it, and she looks up at you kind of startled. Where did you get this?
Allow me to say once more, child, that the view from behind this desk does not extend very far, and that you would do well to keep your face in a book and not wave it at others who are trying to do greater things.
Damn.
Sit
Okay.
down.
I think, yeah, I think that fulfills the condition that the humiliated Fallout gives of like you have to do something to prove yourself, right? You just gave her something she values a lot, and yeah, so she's now willing to help you out. And she
Okay.
says, "What was the reference pages again?"
Don't make me say it.
It's fine. You tell her.
It was the leakage section.
It was
Look
the
in the
leakage
leakage
And
section.
you see her. You are also familiar with these. They wear like these long, like librarian robes that are very like spacious, and she just kind of tucks the book away and it disappears into her robes. And she goes back, and a few minutes later reappears with a stack of the books, hands them to you, and directs the both of you over to a reading area where other drow, and it's like a drow only area, and you see that everybody's masks are off in that area. Like no high elves come here, and the drow are like, fuck that, and just like take off their masks back here. And yeah, so you are invited to go sit.
So on the way there, but before we get there,
Yes.
that was very quick thinking on your part. I'm very impressed.
The second we turn around and get like some distance, I'm like rigid. And then the second we get some distance, I'm just gonna like, holy shit. Can't believe I did that. I think Minrai is not used to flexing. I think she maybe laid pretty low during her time here. So thank you. That was an unfortunate necessity. The people here do very good work, especially in regards to the drow. So I do not like to talk down to them.
Well, it is better than
Dying,
having
I
to
guess.
hurt
Yeah,
them. Yes, if we had gone with the other plan.
that is true. Yes, it is better than having you hurt them. Okay, well, let us begin. I suppose we have quite a bit to read through.
Yes, well, it's because
You will
the
be
plan has
helping.
changed.
Take a seat, friend.
What? How may I help? The plan has
Don't
changed. I do
worry.
not know what to do.
You will read, and you will look for any mentions of magical leakage in regards to the heart of Spire coming from cracks and how to seal them.
Is there perhaps an index?
That is a wonderful question, and I would assume that Hennes
That is a
would know.
wonderful question.
Ah, yes, we cannot hear. I would assume that you would know that the index is the first place that you should look in regards to whether or not a book references a particular subject. But
Is that in the front or the
it's
back?
also it might be either, but also some books just don't have them if they're too old or too handwritten.
This is why I stay away from them.
Well, sit down, and I guess I'll like pull up a chair and start looking through them.
Yeah, I'm gonna take like 4 times as long to get through a book.
I'll see
as
if I can
Minrai.
give like the easier ones to Hennes that I think are like less.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and resolve that, and then we'll cut over to the other Amaranth crew. So I would like you both to roll investigation.
Okay.
And you can use the academia or
Okay.
occult
Okay.
domains, one or the
High
other.
society.
I have both. Oh no, I can only use one or the other.
You can help Hennis out by kind of lending him the other, essentially.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Like you're just like every time you see him like struggling with words, you like look over and you're like, and like explain to him the concept essentially.
Yeah.
So you can, yes. So
this is 2d10 if I have investigate and academia.
3d10 for you because you get your base d10 plus your domain plus
Okay.
your skill, and then Hennis gets the help from Minrai and the
And
base
the base
d10.
D10.
Okay, so
Yeah.
2d10 from Hennis. Let's see them rolls.
Please.
Oh,
2 10s.
damn!
I
Very
kill someone
nice.
with a book.
Actually, that is our first time that we've ever had a critical success that has an extra 10, and that is a special thing in Spire.
One of the
So
librarians drops dead.
when you
I
get
thought you said we weren't going to kill people.
They just explode. I don't know. I was too good at reading.
when you get a critical success, every dice that shows 10 in addition to like the one that you're counting as your success is like extra stress against an enemy, or like additional success essentially.
Okay.
Which is actually super good for you guys. And so what a 7 is going to be, I think, no stress. No. Hennis would
Yeah,
take stress
guy
on a
with
7.
2 guns.
Great
logic.
Yeah. If Calvi rolled 2 10s, a guy with 2 guns runs in. Okay, so here's what I'm going to offer. You
Amazing.
can spend your extra critical success to prevent Hennis from taking stress, or you can use your extra critical success to get a little more information from the books.
I will go with more information.
Okay. Then Hennis is going to take a D3 of stress.
Is it mind stress? Because he's like, reading.
Yes,
Dang,
it
you just
is-
keep rolling
I
threes,
know.
don't you?
Vicious. It is mind stress. Poor Hennis is taxing
Oh,
himself.
so can't Minrai vomit or something? I don't
I can,
remember.
if you
I take
get
Fallout?
Fallout, I can absorb it and then vomit it.
So what, you're at 6 total stress right now, Hennis?
5. I had 1 armor, whatever it's called.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Resistance.
I understand now.
Yes.
Okay. So you're at 5 stress. So I need to roll
Correct.
a 4 or lower for you to take Fallout. It's thinking. There it goes. Hey, a 10. You don't take Fallout. Okay.
That means it's only going to be worse later, right?
Unless
Yeah,
you
but
do
that's
something
more
now.
exciting. Yeah.
Okay. Unless
Makes
you
it more exciting.
do something to get rid of it. You guys can do that. You all have mechanics, multiple mechanics for relieving
Used
stress.
mine before. I've
Mine are
argued for
eliminate
chasing
an-
down things.
Eliminate
Can
an
I-
enemy of the ministry and defend the defenseless.
Mine happened at night. That's going to be like 6 sessions from now.
Can my rite of respite, like, can I instruct Minrai what to do to help Hennis?
No.
Like,
It's just like, so you're gonna light some candles.
What would
apparently,
be funny is like I make Minrai roll for that, and you actually inflict more stress on her like mind than you
Yeah.
could like heal them for via like coaching her over Zoom.
I mean, unfortunately, the like my helping the defenseless is pretty hard because the conditions for that are like pretty high. Like
Plus,
someone
you
who
don't
just
like to
had their
help
hand.
people, so.
Well, yeah, like someone who just had their hand cut off.
Okay, but
and
you cut off
bandaging
their
that.
hand.
That
You did
wasn't-
that. We're not
Technically,
gonna.
I cut off his
Rachel
hand.
did
We're
that.
not. We're not. Listen to what this great information is, okay?
Yeah. Wait, I should write this down.
You
Wait,
should.
I'm taking notes. Spire.
Okay. So here's what you discover about sealing cracks like these. First of all, what you find out is that this is relatively unstudied. It's studied, you're going to get information, but relatively unstudied because this is a university of divine magic, and this is all occult magic. And in Spire, there is a divide between divine magic users and occult magic users, because occult magic is kind of like the dangerous, more, it's not strictly illegal, like technically, but like people don't do it because it has worse side effects than divine magic. So people don't study it. And divine magic users, such as the University of Divine Magic, would certainly not like be like, and then we spent 7 years doing an intensive research study, but they did study it to some degree. And the previous case of this that was best studied was when a whole section of the part of Spire that is like industry, it's where like the factories are and everything, it's called the Deep Works. So there's the works, which is where like just the normal factories are. And then there's the deep works, and the deep works is like where shit gets nasty. It's like the very bad old factories. Lots of lost territory to unreality down there, that people don't like to venture down to unless they have literally no other options. And so the previous, or like the time that was studied, was in the deep works, because unreality was kind of left unchecked there. Um, and the scribe or the scholar who wrote this kind of theorizes that places like Derelictus, like the deep works, like parts of the garden, are where it's most likely that unreality will seep through, because it's where the least maintenance is being done to keep it in check over time. And from that disaster in the deep works, scholars learned that the best way to handle unreality running rampant is either to abandon the area or use unreality as a tool against itself. So it's like fighting fire with fire. The best tool to check unreality is unreality. You do find out, because of your critical success, that the materials that you need to do this are not easy to get. Nor is there like a set list. It's more of like, well, we need something that fulfills this function, and these types of tools might do that job. And then we also need something that fulfills this other function, and these types of tools might do that job. And you have to kind of collect all the things for the categories and hope they work together. So because of your critical success, you actually have time, or your bonus critical success, I'm going to say you have time to copy all of this information down, because I was going to say like you essentially run out of time at this point. You get to know the categories, but like you had to get a really good investigation check to have time to like copy it all down and have like enough notes that you don't have to like try and steal this book or something. So you definitely need a powerful occult focus, which is an item that is steeped in unreality, because again, you have to use unreality to combat unreality. So a powerful occult focus. You need material components like cement, but easily quadruple or more of the amount that you'd actually need to fill the hole. So you guys filled the cracks with like, you know, 20 cubic inches of cement. You're going to need like at least 100 of those, right? Quadruple it. You're going to need hallucinogens that are used in holy rituals.
Hell yeah.
That open your mind to unreality. And the scholars make it very clear that people have died doing this before, and that the more people who are knowledgeable about the occult, and kind of like you want a crew of people who are knowledgeable about the occult. You want some of them high out of their minds on these hallucinogens, and some of them not, as kind of grounding as during the ritual to do this, who then guide those who are on hallucinogens through the process. And we'll say one additional thing you get, this will be the last thing, is that the occult focus, you something sparks your memory, and you think of something, and you remember an exact book, and you run back to the girl at the desk, and she fetches it for you, and you look it up, and you know that there are a couple places you can source arcane focuses from. One, the Vermissian Vault, which from the best of your knowledge is where that upside down floating room was, or the gravityless room is part of the Vermissian Vault, is an easy place to do it, but very hard to find. The Vermissian Vault itself is hard to find, but if you find it, you're probably going to find an occult focus pretty easily. The Blood Witches, who live near the heart of Spire. Every time I say anything about the Blood Witches, I always look at Tyler's face, because it's just fun to see your reaction. The Blood Witches use occult focuses in their rituals. And foci. And some like collectors or like rare artifact stores might have them, as just kind of like, look at this cool thing that I have, and you could try and buy it that way. Okay, that's what you find out.
That really strikes me as Farquaad.
All right. I'm proud of us.
That double critical success. I have so many places in my notes where I'm like, she can push her luck to get this information. I'm like, well, she just gets it, I guess. So, good fucking job. Let's cut over to Ulrich, Kelvy, and Amandu.
Oh, Rick, don't forget, you have my gun now, by the way.
Right. I do have your gun.
By the way,
Why?
while I'm reading all of this stuff, y'all just hear me like muttering like incessantly in your ears as I like
Yeah.
pour through all this shit.
Yeah, I was wondering if it's at all possible that this that Minrai telling us this could have happened while we were in that black marketplace.
It's not particularly legible muttering, and I think I would talk to Hennis about it as we leave.
Okay.
So I think some of it is some of the early information, like, oh, I found a study about the, like the deep works and stuff. Like, I think some of that information you might have gotten then, but like by the time Minrai like thinks about arcane focuses and occult focuses and stuff like that, like it's later in the day. She's spent a lot of time researching this.
Okay.
Yeah, so
that tracks.
Yeah.
Rainbow Burr.
So we might want to rethink the we're coming from Harmonious Properties, because me being dressed as I currently am might be a little odd if another high elf is kind of running that, but I think we might be able to use that. So he remind me, does he do that?
You kind of went
Can
robot
you
in the
repeat
middle
what
of
you
that.
just said? You glitched
You
out.
do, Amandu?
What?
Was I cutting out? Okay. Does Faisal use fighters in the arena?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was what I did.
Good. All right. See,
But
I
he doesn't have
think we can use that.
tons of fighters. He's not like, Lady Hallion or some of the others who have like tons and tons of fighters. He had a few fighters.
No, but see, that's good. We can use that because if I'm like I could be like a new high elf looking to get in on the action. I'm not going to go up to one of the big wigs. I'm going to go to somebody who's going to be more my level, a little bit on that, right? So I can get in with that, and then I'm hoping I can forge another document, right, of another property somewhere in Derelictus. And maybe we have a trade. And I mean that document's not going to be worth shit, but I'll have the deed to the building then.
I mean, pardon me, Kelvy, but it seems a little strange that just a random high elf would approach him that he doesn't know about some sort of I don't know, hobby that he has, which is watching the drow fight. Like I just feel like that is a conversation that he would be more inclined to have with other high elves that he knows, or at least knows of.
I might have that covered. Okay, so I am approaching him because I see an opportunity, because I know about his I'll call it affectionate nature towards Amandu and the Drow, which is not a good thing. That we know, like the high elves, they shouldn't really give a shit about the Drow, but here we are. So I think I can use that to kind of lean on him. So the why am I here? It's just because I want to fuck him over in a business deal, really. That sounds like a
Um,
very high elf thing to do. I don't know.
Table talk wise, though, wasn't Farquad trying to keep this under wraps, like that he
Exactly.
was trying to do something nice, and so the fact that this information is seemingly getting spread to other high elves, like, is that your intent, that he's now finding out that other people know about it and therefore it's less going to be viewed as less special or avant-garde?
Yeah, I think the more I think the more people that know about it it's probably going to become more of like I'm gonna phrase it almost like a smear campaign, almost like this is going to not make you look better in the eyes of the drow. It's going to belittle you in the eyes of the high elves, kind of a thing. Because I think that reputation for him is more important than the I'm gonna go and feel good about doing something nice for the drow or Amandu.
So if we can frame it such that like, well, your goal here is framing it so that he it's not something avant-garde, it's just something that's literally going to negatively impact his reputation.
Right, and I think I might be remembering this wrong, so please correct me. But I think when Hennis was kind of overhearing his where he did your previous master and him talking about that, he kind of froze up at the like, oh, you're doing this project, you're helping the drow.
Is that
Or am I
Is that over the table?
Was
Is
that
over?
question directed at
that was
me?
over the table? Yeah,
Yeah,
I want to make sure that
oh,
that means
Yeah, that was not a Kelvy accent. That was a
Yeah.
Tyler
No.
accent.
that was just
over
me. Yes,
over the
yes,
table.
that was table. Sorry.
We believe that there is more to this than him wanting to help the drow. Like we're sure that that's not his objective. We just don't know what his objective is.
Yes.
Right.
So the things that you have learned about Faisal include Amandu saying that for some reason Faisal has some kind of special interest in Amandu that led him to choose your building because Amandu lives there, right? To renovate it as like a, look, it's for you, right? And that Amandu thinks that Faisal is the kind of person who likes to know more than other people, right? He likes to have all the information. So having information that he doesn't have is key. From Ingalori, you learned that Faisal's interests frequently flit from thing to thing. So the fact that he landed on Derelictus, which is not a very common choice for high elves, and has kind of continued to see this through, suggests that there is something more important than the usual kind of like Faisal is like, I'm gonna do this project and then, gives up and tries something else, right? Motivation that you have not pieced together or learned. That jive with what everybody remembers from previous sessions?
Sure. Yeah. So all right, Kelvy. I think I like the direction that you're going at this with. I guess my one concern then becomes, how exactly do we rope Minrai into this? Like, because we definitely want her presence here at some
Minrai,
point.
you do hear Ulrich saying, "How do we?" I mean, like you're deep in books, so I don't know how much you like notice it, but because of the whispers, you do hear the "How do we rope Minrai into this?"
But I didn't mean that insofar as like how do we make her complicit, but
No, I know.
like how do we literally get her there?
I'll just whisper, friend, I am already roped in, and then I'll keep going. Question: did Hennis get anything?
I've seen I'm
Okay,
not.
you've seen
I'm
the leakage for
ignoring you
Hennis.
because I read it and I know that I need to
Okay.
address it, but I'm trying my damnedest to focus on Tyler and Sam right now.
I'm just making sure that you saw the
And
the,
instead
Are you
the
it's just-
leakage.
implying that Ava
Holy-
and I are distracting in some way?
Leakage for Hennis is a plight which
Yes.
I just wanted to
Thank
make sure
you for
you'd
reminding
seen.
me. You are absolutely right. Hennis succeeded. He took stress for this.
Okay.
He deserves information. We'll get there.
Okay.
As we
I'm
were saying.
looking for an occult spell related to leakage that you might get, Hennis.
Great.
Over the table, did we abandon the idea of the fighter angle
What's the fighter angle?
that Kelvy was just mentioning?
Yeah.
I think that's literally what we were just agreeing to go
Okay.
with.
Wait, we
So
seem to
that
be on
works.
entirely
Okay.
different pages.
I'm gonna make a note. The fight, crossing off everything else. Fighter angle. Oh, I also decided to think of a very classy high elf name for my new visage. I am Orin Wades in Moonlight.
Orin
Fancy.
wades in moonlight, and so it's going to take me a long time to not just immediately refer to you as Kelvy. So Orin, should I just refer to you as Mr. Moonlight, or
Yes, I love that so much. Yes, Mr. Moonlight
Mr.
sounds.
Moonlight.
Mr. Moonlight? Anyway, sorry, it's a Beatles song. They were quite popular in the olden times.
I've never heard of them.
Um,
Barnabas is connected via this whispers.
Yeah,
right?
Barnabas just goes, "What?"
Never
as he's
heard
being
of them.
bitten,
Right?
leading the guy on or the person on.
Mhm.
Okay, so Mr. Moonlight, should I even be present then? Like,
Yes, you're going to be my typist. I say, handing him very carefully my bag, which holds my typewriter.
And Amandi's like, and I'm gonna be your fighter.
Yes.
We need masks that are your masks and not Faisal masks if we're gonna do this. We need to like
Good booty.
paint
All right.
over these. I mean, we could buy some paint and try to
Yeah,
like
let's do that.
paint
let's
over,
do that.
you know? It's gonna look weird, but it's better
Hey,
than
I'm a new guy, you know, weird. I'm gonna go with like a Spire Willy Wonka if he was a noble kind of a thing.
you could also I mean the high elves like hail from the north of the country beyond Spire. And you could arguably say that you are new to Spire, right? That
Oh,
this is
sure.
like
No, that's great. I will use that.
yeah, there's a city name.
I can just say I'm up north. It's fine.
Okay, yeah, from the north, yeah. That would definitely be information you have.
Sure. So yeah, before we go, I guess I'll go ahead and get some other Oh wait, we already have masks.
Yeah.
We just need.
Yeah, it's gonna paint over them to try and make them like your servant masks instead
Right.
of Faisal
Right.
servant masks.
Cool.
Okay. How do we want to do this?
Is
Because
the black market paint?
that's a great
Get
question.
it at a normal store.
you
'Cause I'd
can
rather
just get
get this in the shadows.
paint. I mean, you can just buy paint. But then like doing the art. Are any of you skilled in what would this be? Fix.
I have fix.
I think fix is what you would use for this. Fix and crime or high society.
I just have fix.
Okay.
So
I can't help you there.
Okay.
I have to be at the meeting. I'm the only one with high society.
All right. So you buy the paint and you find kind of a place to kind of secretly work and go ahead and roll 2d10. Fingers crossed. Hey, double eights. Very good. Take no stress and successfully paint over these masks to convincingly create um, what looks similar to many of the other servant masks, but with a new kind of sigil on it that you are saying represents House Wades in Moonlight. Um, and you are now, you and Amandu now don um, Orin Wades in Moonlight masks. And
Kelvy, I've been thinking, if this all works out and we're alive at the end of it, maybe we should like start some sort of counterfeit high elf mask making business. Because like, I don't know about you, but this thing looks pretty good to me.
It looks great. I mean, we like this. Oh, also, I should. But before we go any further, if this goes to hell in a handbasket, I have.
It was totally Amandu's fault.
No,
Amandu's like, it smells so bad with the paint. Like,
And Rai will whisper back, yes, use him as a scapegoat.
So the nice thing about going in as masked people who don't exist is that if we need to do anything drastic, we could always take the masks off after. I'm hoping it doesn't come to that, obviously, but in case.
Right.
so Amandu's
Totally
like,
doesn't awkwardly pat his leg with the gun inside.
Amandu's like, so I'm probably just gonna not talk
Yes.
because Faisal knows me pretty well. So if I talk, the gig's up because he'll recognize my voice probably. So
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the I cut the tongues out of my fighters because they don't need to speak. They just fight, Nah, that's
then I also will not open my mouth. But I was gonna be our ticket in because I know the servants and stuff, right? So now
Oh, I'll just tell you not to speak when we out of
so you're
respect.
just gonna knock on the door and okay.
No. I mean, no. Please go do that. I'm just going to tell you when we're with Faisal not to speak because a respect thing for me.
So
Yeah,
you do want
maybe
me?
maybe Amandu, if you just whisper, that'll be
Yeah.
okay.
That sounds good.
Wait, I'm very confused right now. You're still using me as me to get us in the door. So all the servants are going to know that I'm there.
Oh wait, yeah, we should probably not do
but
that.
not in a Faisal mask. And then
Right.
we're going to tell, we're not going to, there's no way that's going to get to Lord
I
Faisal.
cannot.
Maybe, yeah, I think nobody should know that I'm there.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that. Yes.
I am the one who.
But if you need to talk to us, you can whisper.
Great. Okay. So yeah, he leads you to Faisal's estate. And as you may recall, also all of these images I made sure were like marked for like reuse, non-commercial reuse on Google so that we can use them. And so this is just what we get. But remember that Amaranth is very cold. It's always icy and freezing in Amaranth, and so it's always winter essentially in Amaranth. And you approach Faisal's estate, and at this point I'd say it's pretty well into the evening, right? It's probably 5-6 o'clock, after late afternoon, early evening. Because y'all had to make your way up Spire. You had the whole thing with what's her name in the morning. Yeah. It's probably 6. We'll say it's 6 at the point where you are knocking on Faisal's door, and Amandu is kind of sticking really close to Rick and just like very uncomfortable. It keeps you hear Rick, you keep hearing him like mutter under his breath, like, okay. Like just
I slip him just a little bit of malak. Just Amandu, we're not gonna be here long.
In drugged for this.
This
Don't
is
fucking
just
don't fucking do that.
this is just reconnaissance.
yeah.
It's okay.
Yep. Yep. No tongue. Okay. And the door opens, and a presumably drow servant in a Faisal like house mask. This would be, I guess Amandu would know, and you. I think Rick would know, would be pretty familiar with the kind of nuances of high elf like mask markings. The markings on this kind of indicate like house staff, so someone who sees to like cleaning and keeping the house nice and putting out towels for guests and things like that. That's their kind of role in the house. Who opens the door and um, seeing Kelvy in high elf regalia, immediately ducks his head and kind of bows a little bit in front of you, my lord. I'm so sorry. I was not expecting guests tonight. Is my lord Faisal expecting you?
No, actually, I am, as they say, new in town, and I was wondering if I could procure a meeting with your Lord Faisal.
Uh, well, please come in, and opens the door into kind of a parlor, an open area at the front for you to walk into. There's seating, there's, it's very pristine and nice and weird and artsy, as all high elf estates essentially are. But this is very much like a holding space for surprise guests, which is exactly what you are. And kind of bows again and says, "If you would be so kind as to wait here, I can check with uh, others in the household to see if my lord is available." And kind of bows his way out of the room. You being kind of an unknown entity, I think, is being very deferential in case you turn out to be one of high elves who just like cuts people's limbs off and things. So, yeah, so he makes his way out, and you are now, you, Amandu, and Rick are presumably alone in the kind of foyer seating area, parlor type entry to the house.
Just give them a very quick thumbs up, and then I wait.
I begin typing like with single fingers on
No,
the.
no one taught you. Kind of, I quickly try to give him a crash course.
Amandu
Is this keyboard QWERTY?
Amandu pushes a vase like half an inch away off its like spot. Um so that it's no longer like square to the world. And then just it's just standing there with you.
And Rick, to make Amandu comfortable, reciprocates the gesture by finding a painting and just ever so slightly nudges it off of Axis.
All right, and you guys wait there for a while. At this point, I think Rick, you would absolutely hear Minrai muttering, because you're not doing much else. I mean, you were kind of typing, but Minrai's kind of half intelligible as she's, digging through these tomes. It's definitely picking up with like she's getting more of the kind of meat of the information at this point. So you would probably hear a few keywords. If there's anything in particular that you think Rick would kind of like interrupt with, I think this would be the moment that you would have to kind of do that. I think that the furthest that Minrai has kind of gotten in all that information is through kind of knowing like the areas of like we need an arcane focus, we need hallucinogens, right? Less into what actually the ingredients could be and more of kind of like what the areas of are.
In that case, like I think as like a priest, the I mean, you specifically refrained from saying arcane stuff, but like occult magic and what I practice, divine magic, like I probably don't have like too deep of an understanding of occult magics.
Are you
Um,
proficient in occult? Is it one
I'm
of your?
not.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
know.
And so like I don't know if I would really have much to speak up about that, but regarding like hallucinogens, I I probably like might like know a guy or two, but I would need to know, what specific kinds that
I'll
it
say
is.
in regards to hallucinogens, you did say specifically, this is the wrong notes. I was like, what are these people? You did specifically say
Hallucinogens that open the people's minds to unreality is what I wrote down.
hallucinogens in holy rituals.
Hmm?
So
did
they
say
would be
that.
used in divine things as well, I
Okay,
would imagine.
so then I would probably I would know something about that, but then I would also mention to Kelvy like, hey Kelvy, apparently we might it might be useful if we got our hands on uh perhaps some of the foci used, or a folk of the focuses used by the blood witches.
You also hear me mumble a shitload of cement.
And I'm absolutely saying this under my breath because Amandu should not know about the whole situation with the blood stuff.
If it helps people for the future, since we'll be saying this word a lot, the plural is pronounced foci.
Foci.
Foci. Okay.
I'm gonna say focus.
I said it earlier, but nobody believed me, so I thought I would just reiterate. I don't. I
Pretty sure
know
it's like
these because
moose.
math.
It's
It's
like-
fine.
It's like feast, like geese.
I can. We'll look into that.
I will
But
say. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, but I was gonna ask you, Elise, in regards to the hallucinogens in holy rituals, like how much of that would I be aware of?
So
have access
holy rituals for Limye don't really use hallucinogens. Remember, there are lots of gods in Spire.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of gods, and they're worshipped in lots of ways. Limye is kind of the most accepted, it's kind of like the Christianity of the US for Spire, right? For Drow.
Yeah.
It's kind of the most practiced, most recognized kind of official, unofficial religion of the Drow. And so I would say like for like your particular like area of priesthood, you don't really use hallucinogens. You'd use Malak a lot. It's kind of a part of, but yeah. But I think that you would know of other religions that are a little more kind of earthy, a little more even demonic, that do use hallucinogens. And I think from your perspective, that's not divine magic, that's occult magic, but it's still holy in the sense of like it's meant to be a way of worshiping a god, if that makes sense.
Okay, but I would gather from that I might know people who practice this, but I'm not really able to turn that in this moment into anything actionable.
Yeah, I think that like long term, you would be able to turn that into something actionable. You would be able to kind of hunt down some leads from your old contacts in that world, to kind of be like, hey, have you like, do you still have a supply of this type of thing, or that type of thing that we could, try using for this?
Would I know if Gray does on a regular basis?
You know that Gray, especially like the last time you were there, what was it that he gave you last time? Like carotid?
I mean,
Right?
yeah, I had carotid, which is a hallucinogen.
It's
so
a really
that,
powerful hallucinogen too.
yeah.
I think that what Hennis like Hennis, like you don't do great with like the theory and the unreality and the magic shit that Minrai's doing. But when Minrai's like, hallucinogens, you're like, oh, I got this. And just kind of like, you take over that part of the research for Minrai. And I'd say for your success that I'm finally, here you go. Whatever.
Oh, I don't get a spell.
I found a leakage
No.
spell.
Cry for me. So you, I think, would
Different kind of leakage.
you would be kind of like studying up on some of the things that like the notes and like what you're gathering from the notes that like are, this scholar is taking on these drugs is that the scholar has never taken these fucking drugs, right? They're like, oh yes, my experience with carotid, and you're like, oh, this person has never touched that drug. And your kind of more expert drug user knowledge, insider knowledge, like starts to piece together that it sounds like this is actually, he's describing the effects that he's describing that were successful for the person doing the drugs sounds like a mix of several other drugs, and you would want to have a chance to kind of like mess with that to figure it out, but that it's not just one drug, it's like a couple drugs mixed. And you think Gray would be a good resource for finding out about mixing drugs, as that's something he's done before.
Okay. And then Minrai, and I guess everyone else, has news of your guys' plan gotten to Minrai and I?
Yeah, for sure at this point, would have heard the new plan.
Then,
The modified plan.
Yes.
Minrai, could you ask them if it might be best for us to not show up in Faisal masks ourselves, and perhaps I can get some from Lady Helgen, and perhaps show up as a fighter myself, or someone who trains fighters on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I don't know that
How?
perhaps.
Yeah. I guess, is this kind of near the end of like when I've been looking at the book?
Yeah, probably you're approaching your last. I'd say by now you're probably an hour out from getting to Faisal's estate, because you have to kind of wrap up your business at the library, turn in all the books, and then walk over
Yeah.
there. So the earliest you would get to the estate at this point is probably in about an hour.
So I'll kind of update them and be like, we have finished here. We will be heading to Lord Faisal's estate soon. Do you know how you will be getting us in? Is there perhaps an alternative that you would like? I heard discussion of a plan that was different.
Right. Well, this is what I was saying when I was like, well, how do we rope Minrai into this?
Perhaps if, from what you have told me of their plan, perhaps if I show up in a mask of Lady Helgen and have some kind of note perhaps that said to meet them there, and some interest in my services, and perhaps I could say that I was just following it so that I could inform Lady Helgen, who was asking, and not actually commit to anything with anyone. But then we could get in there.
Ines wants to show up as a fighter for
Yes,
Lady What's Her Face.
Perhaps Hannes can arrive under the guise of being someone that is going to show Mr. Moonlight the fighting ring and is meeting us here at the Faisal estate.
But what mask will I be wearing?
A similar one.
Will we be getting? Where do we get masks?
Or I regularly come up here and get masks when I need to do something. When someone has paid Lady Helgen to use my services, I can get plenty.
Will you get one for me?
Yes, so long as you did not do anything to terribly defame her name and get me murdered.
Imagine me doing something terrible.
Thinks back to 2 hours ago when you were at the library.
That sounds good to me, yes. Let us take that plan. Hennis will get us in, don't you worry about it.
Okay. Not long after that conversation wraps up, the same servant who let you into the house returns to the kind of waiting area and says, my lord, my Lord Faisal is available to meet you, but not for a while yet tonight. Surprise visits, as you know, can be tricky to fit into schedules, but he's interested in hearing what it is you've come to him for, as someone, as you say, new to the area. So I'd be happy to show you to a place where you can wait more comfortably if you'd like, and with your entourage, and just to be more comfortable if you have a few hours, maybe 1 to 2 hours to wait. I know it's not ideal, but if you're willing to, we can also bring you dinner.
Yeah. I was looking forward to dining with Faisal, but I will take some dinner while I wait. Sure.
Also, pardon me, Mr. Moonlight, but we did receive word earlier that one of what is the other
Lady
lady's
Hellion.
fighter? Yes, that one of Lady Hellion's fighters was going to arrive and meet you at Lord Farquaad's estate. Should we ask if the
At what point is an NPC gonna be like, "Who the fuck is Lord Farquaad?"
Maybe at this
Like-
point, right now.
Oh,
No. Now we have to spread a rumor that Lord Faisal was once called Lord Farquaad, and he changed his name to avoid great shame.
The servant kind of hears this, and if Lady Hellion is sending one of her esteemed guests, then is this part of your intention to have him or her or them be part of the meeting, or?
It's a good question. Scribe, you wrote it down earlier. What did I say?
excuse me, in regards to
In regards to, did I want this third party sitting in on my private meeting, or did I want to see them afterwards? Can you?
well, in regards to the context of your conversation with
Yes.
Lord Faisal, I don't think it would be inappropriate. No.
Very well. We'll use this time and dining experience to wait for this third party so that I may soak in the culture of this snowy corner of the world.
Very well. Would you like me to escort Lady Hellion's the word, like, envoy or something? What's like people who represent her? Representatives.
Representative, there we go.
Would you like me to have her representatives brought up to wait with you, or wait separately?
I'm gonna just look at the slightly askew painting, put my hands behind my back, and just, yes, that would be nice. Bring them to us. Also, your painting's just off center there. You should probably fix that. I've taken a hand for less, and I just wag my finger a little bit. And
He kind of cowers down a little, and of course, my lord, I can't believe this wasn't seen to immediately, and I'll have someone fix it right away after I show you to your rooms and fetch your dinner, my lord.
Ulrich scoffs a little under his breath.
Poor guy. All right. He escorts you up the stairs to a waiting room. It is more comfortable. There are couches, books, just, a table for you to eat at. Not long after you sit down, food is served, and you wait. Let's see Barnabas.
When nobody's looking, like,
Hey.
rub your butt on stuff and be like, "Take that, Farquaad."
hopefully they also have a little bit of leakage, when they do that.
Oh God.
Well, someone had plenty of leakage this morning.
Yeah, Kelly, you're like set.
Kelly's a little dehydrated at this point. He's like hiked all the way up Spire on a day where he's already lost the vast majority of his stomach contents in both directions.
needs a win.
He's a win.
Here's the question: does Kelby feel better after this detox? Because wouldn't it like flush
Yes, Sam.
everything out?
Have you
You
ever
know?
had explosive diarrhea?
You know what? I can't say I've had it to that level. No. Imagine being through it though is like a strange, odd relief.
I'm just gonna
Okay,
say
so go to the CVS down the street, Ava, and get a box of Dulcolax and take the entire thing.
I'm gonna say
and then
that I'm
report
gonna
to us
bet
later.
no. Nobody feels better after that. All right, Barnabas, you
Who's
were
having explosive diarrhea.
all right. It's
Well,
canon now.
no.
You were escorting Nezaday, who had sunk
Oh,
their
no.
teeth into your
Escorting.
leathers,
Oh,
back
no.
to their house. I believe was the plan.
Yes.
Okay.
Barnabas still only like semi has an idea of what the fuck is going on and what he's supposed to do. So, you know, not Rachel, just Barnabas. Rachel's totally got it.
Uh-huh.
Don't worry.
All right.
Yeah, I feel like I would just be like, as we're walking and he's just there, or they're just kind of on my arm, I'm just gonna be like maybe gently petting their head
Aw.
and just whispering like, it's all right, it's fine, just calm down, you're with me now, going back home, you're all right, and just kind of like try to calm them and make them comfortable.
Okay. Yeah, they seem much calmer. I think they're still they do let go of the leather. But like accept the kind of physical comfort of being like kind of petted and and just kind of like just doesn't say much, seems very tired, like big crash after a big panic kind of thing.
Did I have any, I'm trying to remember from last time, did I have any indication of what set this off?
No.
Okay.
You just found them in the midst of people that they were
Right,
terrorizing.
after searching their house, which was totally fucking tossed, but
well, one room,
I
the
think
bedroom was tossed.
but I believed that, did I believe that they tossed it themselves?
Yes,
Right,
based on,
in like a panic of like,
yes, yeah. It seemed to you like based on the fact that it was just the bedroom, that it was like, you know, some of their clothes tossed in a particular way, that it didn't look like someone had come in here tossing it looking for something as much as felt like Neza themselves in kind of a panicked craze, like threw some things around for unknown reasons. Yes, was your hunch.
Okay. Right.
That was your
Are they wearing clothes?
yes.
Okay. But they took off like the bloody shirt and stuff from before. That's what I had. That was a separate.
Yeah, the bloody
that
shirt
was from when they were shot, right?
Yeah, several days ago now. Yes.
Okay.
Just two.
Was
eight,
it?
8 sessions, but 2 days.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't expect anything interesting to happen, or I'm not planning anything interesting on the way to their home.
Okay.
So like unless you have something, then I would just walk them to their
Yeah.
home.
Okay. You get to their home and they
You got like a key or something?
and kind of digs in. They're like, you know, doing the thing where like you pat every pocket, and then procures a key ring. It has like 4 keys on it. Tries one, it doesn't work. Tries the next, it doesn't work. Tries the third, it works. The door opens.
Good job. You did it. I just pat them on the back.
Aw.
And Sweet Pea kind of just sniffs them, like he's too nervous to lick them because they're gross blood monster, but just kind of sniffs and nuzzles a bit. But
Okay. Yeah.
and we go in.
Okay, you go in.
I will tell. I was like, how about take a seat? I'll be right back.
They
And
sit.
I go to their kitchen and get a glass of water and something reasonably edible. I don't know, jerky bread, whatever the fuck people eat in Spire.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Not human flesh.
Did you just say jerky bread?
Jerky,
Yeah.
comma,
No,
bread,
bread goes bad, so you gotta
comma,
jerk it.
whatever the hell people eat in Spire, period.
They have Jamaican patties, beef patties.
Delicious jerky bread. Mmm. Okay. Yeah, so then I come back in and just hand them the food and the water and be like, I think you need this first before we talk at
Yeah,
all.
they down the water like they have never drunk water before. Just like chug it. And then surprisingly collected though when they start to eat the bread. Like it's not like the hungry person like just just like a much more collected.
Not like they
compared
were
to-
on my arm just 10 minutes ago.
right. Yeah. Eating of the bread, and as they eat and kind of the water kind of settles into their system, they're definitely kind of coming back to themselves a little bit more over the course of this little snack that you brought them.
So I'm just gonna kind of pull up a chair directly across from them
Mhm.
and kind of just sit in it, and Sweet Pea will come and rest her head in my lap,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just gonna. So, how's it going, Neza?
I think I can hear the walls.
Nice.
Can
you hear?
Nope.
It's
what
like
are they
this-
telling you?
They're not saying things. I can just hear them. They're like, hear them.
Is this new?
Doesn't seem to have an answer.
Cool. You've been struggling a bit since the assassination attempt, Neza?
Someone tried to kill me. And pulls
Yeah, I was
down
there.
the shirt and shows the bullet hole.
No, I bandaged that. I remember.
You were.
Remember I helped save your life?
They lean in really uncomfortably close and like sniff you, and then lean back and like, huh.
Okay, somebody's pulling
Barnabas
a me on
enjoys
me.
that.
And, yeah, right.
Barnabas enjoys it.
It's just a little like.
Oh, I bet he got like new vis senses.
You got them all switched around a bit.
Yeah.
After they sniff me, do they did they seem like, oh yeah, I recognize, or?
Yeah, they kind of like nodded like, oh yeah. That was about it.
Yeah, so you and Barnabas is trying to remember, like, okay, I was supposed to find them and then convince them of something, but then the finding them turned really hard. So I found them now. I still need to convince them of something, but I feel like I need.
Rick and Minrai would both be hearing Barnabas narrating this if
Right.
anyone wants to.
It's like
offer.
I feel like I need to.
Rick, would you like to take care of this? I'm busy.
Rick's gone.
Oh yeah,
No.
Sam.
Uh,
Sam. Sam. Oh, there you go.
A liter of coffee in one hand, like, what?
I'm
I heard you screaming Sam with my headphones on my desk. I was
Yeah. Ava tried to pass off something to you, but your chair was empty. So
basically
sorry,
Barnabas doesn't know what to do next. But I
well,
think
so
this would
Barnabas
be...
is remembering. He's an old man, you know. He's like, okay, so supposed to find Neza, convince him of something, but then they were harder to find than I thought, and I still need to convince him of something now that I've done it. But
That's when I said, Sam, will you take care of this? I am busy. Or Ulrich.
Yeah, so Kelvy. Well, no, I'm not gonna ask Kelvy. Table talk. What was it that we were supposed to?
There's a meeting that
I
he
was
needs
supposed
be
to
going
convince
to
him
tomorrow.
to go to the meeting
You don't have
tomorrow.
to do anything because Kelvy gave you a note.
That's true, but you know, maybe remind me of that.
Right. Barnabas, it's okay. Kelvy gave you a note. It should explain everything that Neza needs to do. So just give this to them, give that to them, and that should be all right.
Barnabas just starts like reaching in all the pockets of his robes, just like pulls out some actual jerky. Maybe it's people.
It's jerky bread.
Just tosses it to Sweet Pea.
As you're
pulls out
digging
some
through
like fucking
pockets,
ribbon candy because he's an old man.
Neza just like sympathetic mimicking like starts to go through their pockets too. Like just very living in the moment, childlike, just starts to be like, "Oh, is that what we're doing?" And just like starts digging
Barnabas
through
touches
pockets.
his nose.
Um, um, Neza
Barn-
closes their eyes.
Oh shit! What is happening?
Barnabas stops touching his nose.
Neza opens their.
No, you didn't say
Oh
Simon.
shit!
You didn't say
Okay,
Simon
that's-
Says.
But that's creepy
Because they didn't see me taking my.
because they didn't see you remove your finger.
They've got creepy viz senses. They're freaks like Kelvy. I don't say that. Barnabas respects Kelvy.
Kelvy can't hear you, so
Yeah, but Barnabas still actually does like Kelvy.
Yeah, imagine that the things that we do when our friends aren't around do matter.
Yeah, I mean, at least as I talk shit about her all the time when she can't hear me. What you doing there, Neza?
I'm listening to the walls.
Anything new?
They don't sing.
What happens? And I get up and I just go and knock on the walls. Does it sound different?
They cover their ears.
holy shit!
And they're just like, "Oh, that makes my head hurt."
Oh, sorry. Neza, can I try one more thing? It'll be softer.
Okay.
And I just gently like rub my finger down the wall.
They like shiver like ASMR jitters.
Ah.
They got them crinkle tinkles.
They got them crinkle tinkles.
And just under his breath, Barnabas just goes, "What the fuck?" So you guys can definitely hear that. It's fine. Barnabas is like torn between like, well, I know I have a job to do. And he's thinking this, not saying it out loud. Like I know I have a job to do, but at the same time, like they got a whole fucking meeting, right? And I gotta wait for Minrai to meet me before we go up to New Heaven. So like I probably have some time to fuck around with Neza and figure this shit out.
But Barnabas, do you think that Neza will be like cogent enough for an actual meeting? Like,
Rick, I'm gonna be real with you right now. I don't fucking know, but I'm gonna do my best. So, what timeline am I in right now? Like, what about are they? Because I'm sure I've been hearing like whatever Ulrich has been saying.
Yeah.
So,
this is probably fairly early comparatively because we dropped you off first. You went straight into hunting Neza mode. I think this is a little earlier than Rick and Kelvy and Amandu arriving at Faisal's. I think they're still kind of in the getting masks, getting all of the mask stuff worked out phase.
So I'm gonna know that I have a while because I did know that the plan was they were gonna have a fucking meeting today, and Minrai wanted to go with me to New Heaven. So like I realize that I have literally hours and this is my only job. So we don't have to act everything out if you don't want to, but like I feel like it's up to you. We totally can if you want to. But I feel like Barnabas would spend his time here doing a couple of different things. He wouldn't hand out the letter yet because he does not trust that Nezadeh is really ready for that. So first, he would continue with some like experiments as long as Neza was cool with it, as long as they were like, yeah, it's, fine, but kind of continue like along the veins of, or along the lines of, could you repeat the sound that you're hearing? And could you maybe draw out how it would say, like trying to just find out more, because especially if he's like, my plan is to go up to New Heaven, and specifically, one of the two things I'm hoping to do is learn more about the Vistblood that I sent up there. So I kind of wanted to like use this time to gather like, I'm alone with him and he seems totally willing to cooperate because he's weird right now.
Is there?
Yeah. So and so I feel like I would just use the time to just experiment for a while, and also try to get them back to some form of more normal state, to see if I can maybe try and calm them enough.
Okay. Roll investigate. And I'll give you occult or religion, I think, for domains.
I have religion.
Okay.
I don't have investigate.
Okay, so it's a 2d10 roll.
Okay. Ugh.
Okay, a 6 is, I think, a failure. No, a 6 is a success, but you take stress.
Say, yeah.
Okay.
Ouch.
I'm going to give you an option. You can take a higher stress dice for more information, or a lower stress die for less information.
Oh, higher for show.
Okay. Oh. I rolled an 8 on an 8. I'm
So am I gonna die from this? Because I'm at 10.
You're dead. I'm sorry.
But I'm at 10 stress now.
If at all feasible.
You are in Amaranth.
I am legit full 10
You're at
stress.
10. So if I roll a 10, you don't take stress.
Yeah,
so
but
you have a chance. You're fine.
If I listen.
Oh wait. You said last time, just it'll help a little. It'll help a little bit. You said last time one of my refreshes is complete a hunt and take your quarry. You said that would be completed once I got Neza back to their house.
Yes, I did. Yes. So you, before I roll your stress, you should do that. We'll say that's a d6. You can roll a d6 and refresh that much stress.
It's gonna be like a 1. Oh no, it was a 2.
It's fine because I had only 2 stress.
Okay.
So now I'm at least at 0.
Okay, and now you're
before
back
I'm then at 8.
Okay, that's
so. What is this 8 stress to?
Mind.
Okay.
Okay. So now I can roll an 8, 9, or 10, and you will not take.
God fucking damn it!
So sorry that.
So just hold on one second. Just wait for me to. I want to be available.
Is it at all possible that I could use my right of respite because she can hear me, or Barnabas rather can hear me?
You have to be there.
Is it at all possible? That's fine.
An 8 is only moderate fallout, though. So even if you take fallout here, we're not in severe.
But if it was 10, it would have been severe, right?
If it was
I'm
10,
so fucking glad I remembered, because I asked you last time. I was like, "Can I get this refresh?" And you were like, "No, not till you take them home." And then I was like, "Wait, I took them home."
Yes.
Oh god.
Okay. Here's your. You don't take fallout.
God, but if I get stress again, I will die.
No, you're fine. You're not gonna get stress again.
After this, I need to just.
Spire.
Okay, so while I'm waiting for fucking Minrai, I just need to like hunt.
Go like hunt a bunny rabbit or something.
But then I'll take stress from that and fucking die.
There is also like you can like lay low, which is like the game will advance without you and you don't get to take actions, but you lose all stress.
How did I not know this was a thing? Can I just do that while they're in their fucking meeting? And I'm waiting for Minrai?
We would, I mean, like, you would have to essentially take a penalty for it bigger than, like, you waited through their meeting. Like you would have to like miss, you wouldn't get to go to New Heaven until after, or like, or you would, but it would take like an extra day of like laying low, because you essentially need to build in time for you to just like lay there and be like, oh dear God. But I think I'll look at it again, because I feel like there's like another.
If we reconvene tonight, I can rid you of at least 3 mind stress.
But I don't know that we are, unless you
Yeah.
come meet me with
And
Minrai. But because you don't know
um
that I'm stressed. I mean, I guess I could tell you over the.
Oh my gosh, y'all!
Okay,
I'm
okay,
9
okay.
stressed right now.
let's focus on what you learn from your kind of talking to. You take a lot of mind stress from this, which I really think is appropriate.
Because it's
yes.
It's
really
just you being, like,
fucking hard for me to hear
frustrated,
about the Viz
yeah.
shit.
Yeah, well, like as you're kind of like poking at, metaphorically speaking, like things that Neza is saying or doing, sometimes they just kind of volunteer weird information to you that you didn't really expect to get from them, or they do something that they're like, you do something and it triggers them to be like, oh, I can do that, but then they don't do that. They do something else similar to like closing the eyes. And one thing that you learn is like, weirdly enough, like they seem to have grown some kind of extra like vocal cord, or like something in their throat, like a bone, or some other vocalization tool, that they can now make these sounds, um, and when they make that sound, that's part of what causes mind stress to you. It is very unpleasant for you to hear. And you have to like hush them quickly, and they're like, what? Because it's just like it sucks to hear. Um, you also learn that they, like when they showed you their bullet wound a little bit later, they're like, if they had shot me here, and like pulls up their shirt, and they have like an exoskeleton over their stomach now.
Oh
They have an
no!
exoskeleton.
They're turning into a bug. That's what the Vis are. The Vis are
Oh, I
bugs.
forgot that. Oh
They're
God.
basically gross
Tyler is like
cockroach
seeing
monsters.
Kelvy's future
Yeah.
unfolding in front of him.
Barnabas is working to fucking cure you, Kelvy. That is so much of what he's trying to do.
They also tell you a lot about dreams that they've had. They tell you that recently, like the vibrating in the walls is affecting their dreams. That that they can hear the walls thing. That's been affecting their dream, and that's why they woke up, and like their room is tossed, because they woke up from this dream and like were overcome with an extremely urgent need to like eat flesh, essentially, like to they kind of put it in
Nice.
like this like
I feel that.
spreading, but like they're talking about like wanting to find ways, so like blood infection is one way to spread this, right? And they're like, maybe at this point, like I can spread it this way, right? So it's not just it's not just about the consumption, it's also about the spread via consumption. It doesn't make much sense, to be honest. Like it makes as little sense to Barnabas as I'm making to Rachel, right? Because
Okay.
it's like it's convoluted and weird and confusing, and they keep referencing vibrating singing walls and dreams where they're like they start sketching, like furiously sketching, and as they're sketching they're doing that singing thing where it's like the weird ululating, and it's like you have to like cover your ears, and like but they sketch out this like really intense, like one of their clearest, ironically, drawings of this like city that's kind of like, it doesn't seem to obey the laws of physics as you know them, and that's coming from someone who lives in Spire. Like they've just, they're, your kind of takeaway from this moment is that this person is deep in the infection at this point. The infection has spread way more than it's in Kelvy, for example. And considering that it wasn't that long ago that Neza was pretty normal. It was just a few days that Neza was shot in their office, just having a conversation with you guys about whatever. It seems like a very rapid advancement, surprisingly so. That's concerning. And yeah, that's what you learn.
Okay, so Barnabas is gonna make some choices. It's a good thing that we can communicate, some of us,
Yeah,
because
why don't I like the sound of that?
So here's Barnabas's thinking.
I love the sound of this, by the way. I'm here for it.
He can't just go along with sending him to the meeting. I fully believe that sending him to the meeting is asking for a fucking disaster.
Sending them to
Skin suit.
Sorry, sending them to the meeting is a full disaster. And I think that
skin suit.
Skin suit, yeah.
I also think that Barnabas is now very worried for Kelvy. And very worried because, like you said, Neza was fine just a couple days ago, and now they're whatever the fuck they are, right? And, you know, Barnabas has noticed that Kelvy has acted a little extra strange recently, with also mentioning dreams, right?
Clearly,
And-
Neza rolled really poorly at the start of a few of their sessions.
Mhm.
Very cool.
Or Neza pissed off the collective hive mind whatever thing by like messing up, and they were like, let's accelerate this bugification, right?
Then what the fuck
I
are they
hope
gonna do
this
to
isn't
Kelvy?
this punishing me.
But yeah, so right now Barnabas is leaning towards taking Neza and the fuck up to New Heaven and accelerating research into trying to fix this and change this. Because he doesn't believe that they will possibly wake up sane tomorrow. And also, like, he wants to accelerate the ability to heal Kelvy. So those are the things going on in Barnabas's head right now. He will whisper so that Minrai and Ulrich can hear. Okay, so Rick, per your earlier question, I'm gonna go with nah. He's not gonna be good to go at the meeting tomorrow. This dude grew a new vocal cord. He has an exoskeleton. They have an exoskeleton. Sorry.
I know we were doing really well with pronouns, but it
I
was a
know.
they them. Not a man.
I'm doing my best.
Not a woman.
They have an exoskeleton, and they're literally hearing the walls, and it's making them dream things. Like, I don't know that they can go tomorrow. In fact, I don't think I feel comfortable leaving them here alone anymore. So
yeah, I think the safest bet is under your care.
so
Oh goodness.
you can't hear me, Kelvy, though.
Oh, I know. I'm asking.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
What
What'd
did
you
you
ask?
ask?
I asked what's going on because
Oh,
he's
because Ulrich is talking to nobody.
I mean, I think it would be assumed that like I'm just kind of muttering these things under my breath. But I would have definitely loop Kelvy in on the evolving
situation.
metamorphizing situation.
Sure. You might want to just, relay the message that Neza needs to be at that meeting tomorrow, because I need to be at that meeting tomorrow. And if I'm not at that meeting tomorrow with Neza, I think it's going to be worse than if Neza just doesn't, show up or whatever. So yeah, whatever needs to happen with Neza today, sure. Neza needs to be there tomorrow.
What is that meeting tomorrow with? That's with the lady?
That's
That's
with
Harmonious
Harmonious
Properties.
and
Yeah.
the other
Okay.
thing.
Herald Corporation.
Does Neza
Herald
have to be
Herald
there
Corporation.
for the meeting? I mean, wouldn't it be easier if they were just like gone?
It was Marilee's
Insistence.
that if Kelvy wanted to show his good faith intentions towards Harmonious Properties, that he would bring Neza so that they could all explain. On that note, we are going to call it here for tonight. I know it's 8:30. We usually go to 9:30, but as we talked about earlier, we're calling it early tonight. So keep thoughts, jot down questions that you have for each other, or whatever you want to bring up at the beginning of next session about Neza Day and the developments in Spire. And we'll see you next Thursday. Anything else before? Oh, tomorrow
Tomorrow
is
we have community
gaming,
games.
because
Yeah.
I'm not able to play in anything tomorrow. And so tomorrow is community games on Helpful Goat. So check it out if you want to just, play games with cool people. And then next week, I don't know the schedule, but you can use !Discord and tune in. Find out the schedule there in the Discord if you don't have it. Don't forget, you can also !BLM, !donate to find out information about places that you can go to educate yourself and find resources, as well as places to donate money and time to the cause of racial justice in America. And on that note, thanks for playing tonight. This is a great little session. I can't wait for the party to not be split so we don't have to do and then Rachel sat for 2 hours while everybody else did things. Sorry.
Doesn't bother me.
Yeah. All right. Well, yes, I think I need my notes about how to close stream, because it's been 3 weeks and my brain is operating at low levels of functionality. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. See you next week for more of Thursday. Bye.
Woohoo!
Bye.
Bye.